people through MP3 or YouTube channel on the earth, we'd like to suggest the 3 questions. Number 1, in verse 11, then she said, please let the king remember the Lord your God. Do not permit the avenger of blood to destroy any more, lest they destroy my son. And he said, as the Lord liveth, not one hair of your son shall fall to the ground. What does it mean in the context? And explain the avenger of blood with the seeds of leprosy. Question 2, in verse 14, for we will surely die and become like water spilled on the ground, which cannot be gathered up again. Yet God does not take away the life, but he devises a means so that his banished ones are not expelled from him. What does it mean? And explain in the context and explain the means compared with Jesus Christ, and how do you respond to God? Question 3, in verses 28 and 33, and Absalom dwelt 2 full years in Jerusalem, but did not see the king's face. So Joab went to the king and told him, and when he had called for Absalom, he came to the king and bowed himself on his face to the ground before the king. Then the king kissed Absalom. What do you observe the heart of David and the heart of Absalom in the context, and what can we learn from here? In the last time, in 2 Samuel chapter 13, 22, 23, 20, 29, and Absalom spoke to his brother Amnon, neither good nor bad, for Absalom hated Amnon because he had forced his sister Tamar. And it came to pass after 2 full years that Absalom had sheep shearers in Baal Hazer, which is near Ephraim. So Absalom invited all the king's sons. Now Absalom had commanded his servants, saying, watch now, when Amnon's heart is merry with wine, and when I say to you, strike Amnon, then kill him. Do not be afraid. Have I not commanded you? Be courageous and valiant. So the servant of Absalom did to Amnon as Absalom had commanded. Then all the king's sons arose, and each one got on his mule and fled. After Amnon raped Absalom's sister Tamar, Absalom had hated mind or bitterness against Amnon without mutual communication. And after 2 full years preparation, Absalom prevented to murder Amnon, his half-brother, through his servants. And Absalom stayed for 3 years in Geshur, and David wanted to see him in 2 Samuel chapter 13, 39. So Absalom fled and went to Geshur and was there 3 years. The king David longed to go to Absalom, for he had been comforted region. In this 14th chapter, Tekoa and Hebron, 5 miles or 8 kilometers from Bethlehem. Tekoa was the hometown of a wise woman commanded by Joab, as well as the prophet Amos' hometown too. Amos chapter 1. The words of Amos, who was among the sheep breeders of Tekoa, which he saw concerning Israel in the day of Uzziah, king of Judah, and in the days of Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Israel, 2 years before the earthquake. Verse 1. So Joab, the son of Jeruel, perceived that the king's heart was concerned about Absalom. Joab, the chief soldier of David, perceived David's comfort from concerning Absalom. 2 Samuel chapter 10:39 of robbery, they belong for. Verse 2. And Joab went to Tekoa and brought from there a wise woman, and said to her, please pretend to be a mourner, and put on mourning apparel. Do not appoint yourself with oil, but act like a woman who has been mourning a long time for the dead. Joab instructed her as a long-time mourner, like an actress, for David's meeting Absalom face to face. Verse 3. Verse 3. Go to the king and speak to him in this manner. So Joab put the words in her mouth. Joab commanded her in detail for her conversation with David. Verse 4. And when the woman of Tekoa spoke to the king, she fell on her face to the ground and prostrated herself and said, help, O king. She followed Joab's detailed order, saying so. Verse 5. Then the king said to her, what troubles you? And she answered, indeed, I am a widow. My husband is dead. One duty of a king wasn't to judge people before God at that time. For example, Solomon's prayer, 1 Kings chapter 3, verse 9. Therefore, give to your servants an understanding heart to judge your people, that I may discern between good and evil. For who is able to judge this great people of yours? A widow, my husband dead. A widow is one of the needy neighbors who God deeply cares, so the king should listen to her before God. Zechariah chapter 17. Do not oppress the widow or the fatherless orphan, the alien or the poor. Let none of you plan evil in his heart against his brother. So, special concern. Verse 6. Now your maid servant had 2 sons, that is, 2 fought with each other in the field, and there was no one to part them, but the one struck the other and killed him. The widow had 2 sons. One son killed the other son, as if Absalom. David's one son killed Amnon, David's another son. Verse 7. And now the whole family has risen up against your maid servant, and they said, deliver him who struck his brother, that we may exact him for the life of his brother whom he killed, and will destroy who was her last alive son and her family's heir. It destroys the family's line like quenching the last left coal. Verse 8, then the king said to the woman, go to your house, and I will give orders concerning you. David said to her to wait until his order. Verse 9, and the woman of Tekoa said to the king, my lord, O king, let the iniquity be on me and on my father's house, and the king and his throne be guiltless. And liability from whatever David's judgment for her is upon her, and her family not upon David. Verse 7, so the king said, whoever says anything to you, bring him to me, and he shall not touch you anymore. David said, any avenger shall not hurt her and her son. Verse 11, then she said, please let the king remember the Lord your God. Question 1. And do not permit the avenger of blood to destroy any more, lest they destroy my son. In her sad story, the words in her mouth in verse 3, her surviving son as a killer should not be killed by an avenger of blood over the whole family in verse 7 by God. David should remember this like the cities of refuge for accidental manslaughter or manslaughter to be protected from an avenger until fair judgment is reached. That's the number 35, 11, 12. Then you shall appoint the cities to be cities of refuge for you, that the manslayer who killed any person accidentally may flee there. They shall be cities of refuge for you from the avenger. Then manslayer may not die until he stands before the congregation in judgment. Her live son in the story was like Absalom, while he killed the son was like Amnon. Her purpose was to let David call Absalom as Joab planned. That's question 1. And he said, as the Lord liveth, not one heir, your son shall fall the ground. Then David decides, finally, David says so. Verse 12, therefore the woman, please let your maidservant speak another word to my lord, my king. She wanted to tell David to meet Absalom in Jerusalem as Joab commanded. And he said, stay on. So the woman said, why then have you skinned? Verse 13, so the woman said, why then have you skinned such a thing against the people of God? For the king speaks this thing as one who is guilty. In that the king does not bring his banished one home again. She said to David, even if you allowed me to bring back my surviving son, the killer, into my home, why don't you bring back your surviving son, Absalom the killer, to your home, Jerusalem? Verse 14, for we will surely die and become like water spilled on the ground, which cannot be gathered up again, yet God does not take away a life, but he devises a means so that his banished ones are not expelled from him. Everyone dies in one way, but God allows a means not to disconnect the family line during the life of the heir in verse 7. Inherit in verse 16. So it happens, or we are expelled. The family line through the heir is connected by God. Likewise, we are subjected to the eternal death by God divides death and resurrection, whereby we have eternal life. So we always thank the Lord for the grace. 2 Corinthians chapter 4:15. For all things are for your sake is that grace, having spread through the many, may cause the thanksgiving to abound to the glory of God. Psalm 19:60. I will praise the name of God with a song, and will magnify Him with thanksgiving. Verse 15. Now therefore I have come to speak of this thing to my Lord the King, because the people have made me afraid. And your maidservant said, I will now speak to the king. It may be that the king will perform the request of his maidservants. Let David accept her request to bring back Absalom into Jerusalem. Verse 16. For the king will hear and deliver his maidservant from the hand of the man who would destroy me and my son together from inheritance of God. David delivered her from the events to kill her and her son. Verse 17. Your maidservant said, the word of my Lord the king will now be comforted, for as the angel of God, so is my Lord the king is in discerning good and evil, and may the Lord your God be with you. David's word of judgment was comforting her, because the judgment word discerning good and evil as the angel or instrument of God. May God be with David. Verse 18. Then the king answered and said to the woman, please do not hide from me anything that I ask you. And the woman said, please let my lord the king speak. Say nothing but truth. So the king said, is it the hand of Joab with you in all this? And the woman answered, said, as you live, my lord. David acknowledged Joab's plan behind her. No one can turn to the right hand or to the left from anything that my lord the king had spoken. For your servant Joab commanded me, and he put all these words in the mouth of your maidservant. No one can pervert David the king's question. The last part, yes, Joab ordered her conversation with David in detail. Verse 20. To bring about this change of affairs, your servant Joab has done this thing, but my Lord is wise according to the wisdom of the angel of God to know everything, and is in the earth. To change Absalom's stay for 3 years in Geshur to his coming into Jerusalem, Joab has planned her communication with David so far, but David's judgment for her is wise as the instrument of the omniscient God. Verse 20. young man, the son. David did forgive Absalom in full, 2 Samuel 18:13. Then the king was deeply moved and went up to the chamber of the gate and wept. And as he went, he said, "There's, oh my son Absalom, my son Absalom. If only I had died in your place, oh Absalom, my son, my son." Verse 22. Then Joab fell to the ground on his face and bowed himself and thanked the king, and Joab king the cast of a hitter. Joab thanked David, who approved Joab's plan and assured David to bring back Absalom. Verse 23, Joab arose and went to Geshur and brought Absalom to Jerusalem. Absalom came back home from Geshur to Jerusalem. Verse 24, and the king said, "Let him return to his own house, but do not let him see my face." So Absalom returned to his own house, but did not see the king's face. David did not see Absalom, sharing David's heart not to forgive in full yet. Also Absalom began the root of bitterness against his father David. Verse 24, now in all Israel there was no one who was praised as much as Absalom for his good looks. From the sole of his foot to the crown of his head, there was no blemish in him. Absalom was lifted up mostly by all the people of Israel. Good look without his whole physical body, in outer man, not in inward man. Verse 26, and when he cut the hair of his head at the end of every year, he cut it, because it was heavy on him. When he cut it, he weighed the hair over his head at 200 shekels, according to the king's standard. Then at the king's standard, the weight of hair was a matter of a good look. 1 shekel is 2/5 ounce, so 5 pounds or 2.3 kilograms. Our God is a jealous God against any idols which we love more than God. Absalom was a king. Exodus chapter 18. Absalom bowed down to them, nor served them, for I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God. The Samson rode on a moat and boughs of a great terebinth tree, and his hand caught in the terebinth. So he was whose name was Tamar, beautiful appearance. The name was Tamar, whose name was the same as his sister, raped by Amnon. It is shown how much Absalom loved his sister Tamar, and the hatred hearts to Amnon, the rapist, was continually reminded whenever he called her daughter. 2 Samuel chapter 22 above. Verse 28. Then Absalom dwelt 2 full years in Jerusalem, but did not see the king's face. To question 3. David was half-hearted because he had longed for Absalom. David longed to go to Absalom in 2 Samuel chapter 13:39, since 2 years ago. This provoked Absalom to wrath, to have set the files of Joab, the chief soldier. David, this is set the fire. Set the fire, Joab, the chief soldier of David, on fire, and set the field of Joab the shepherds on fire, in order to see the king's face. In verse 31, Absalom was a prey and looked good and heavy hair. In verse 26, untrained of the Lord, and was lifted up, not lifting up the Lord or his word. He did not honor his father, and David as a father had not admonished or disciplined Absalom before the Lord. But Absalom's no mutual communication with David in their distance for 5 years, 3 years in Gaza, 2 Samuel chapter 38, plus 2 years in Jerusalem, caused the root of bitterness growing, worsened or grew, the root of bitterness against David, growing to rebellion. Ephesians chapter 6 verses 1 to 4, Hebrews 12, 14 to 10. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor your father and mother, which is the first commandment with promise, that it may be well with you, and you may live long on earth. And you, fathers, do not provoke your children to wrath, and bring them up in the train and the admonition of the Lord. Hebrews chapter 12, 14. Pursue peace with all people, and holiness, without which no one will see the Lord. Looking carefully, lest anyone fall short of the grace of God, lest any roots of bitterness spring up, cause trouble, and by this many become defiled. Verse 29. Therefore Absalom sent for Joab to send him to the king, but he would not come to him. And when he sent again the second time, he would not come. Absalom desperately wanted to see his father David, so he said to his servant to see Joab's fields is near mine, and he had the field there. Go and set it on fire. The Absalom servant set the field on fire. To draw attention from Joab, the messenger of David, Absalom set the field on the fire. The hatred minds, or the root of business, grew against David from Amnon. Verse 31. Then Joab arose and came to Absalom's house and said to him, Why have your servants set my field on fire? Joab asked the reason of the fire to Absalom. And Absalom answered Joab, Look, I sent to you, saying, Come here, so that I may send you to the king to say, Why have I come from Geshur? It will be better for me to be there still. Now therefore let me see the king's face. But if there is iniquity in me, let it be judged to me. Absalom expressed his desperately to see his father David, even if he is subject to death penalty due to his murder of his brother Amnon. Verse 33, Joab went to the king and told him, and when he had called for Absalom, he came to the king and bowed himself on his face to the ground before the king. Then the king kissed Absalom. It's observed that the father's heart to forgive his prodigal son, like the God the Father who gave only begotten Son, Jesus, for our everlasting life. To forgive us. Luke chapter 15, 32. But as soon as the son of yours who has devoured your livelihood with harlots, will you kill the fatted calf for him? And he said to him, Son, you are already with me, and all that I have is yours. It was right that we should make merry and be glad, for your brother was dead and is alive again, and was lost and is found. John chapter 16, for God so loved the world, he gave for the millions of dollars. So